Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Derek, and today I'm joined by,
Karen.
and we're going to be discussing what's happening on GH this week. Tommy, roll the credits, and we'll get into it. All right, so I guess we'll start with Lucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, get right into it.
Yeah, Lucky. Okay, so hats off to Jonathan Jackson. He had me in tears all week. He was awesome.
I don't know. He's an incredible performer, and I'm not gonna
He
lie. I
really
love
is.
I think him freaking out and smashing up Kelly's Bobby's was really kind of insane, but also like I could completely understand why he had to have some sort of emotional release. I'm not
Yeah.
pleased with the storyline. I wanted him to be the hero. I don't
Mhm.
like that he isn't, but that's not
Right.
his fault. He did a great job.
Well, we were texting about this, but his he reunites with Aiden, and Aiden comes out to him, and I thought the scenes were very well handled. I cried. He did a great job in those scenes. The actor who plays Aiden, I don't know his name, but he did a great job as well. And one thing I really related to when Aiden was like, "I can breathe," and I was like, "That's exactly how I felt when I came out to my dad."
Oh,
So it really got to me.
yeah, I think they're really trying. I think they kind of heard that outcry about the whole Natalia Ava Blaze scenario where everybody is
Mhm,
still like freaking furious that
mhm,
Natalia gets nothing and Ava gets all the crap. And she's
mhm.
still walking around town like her being a bigot is no big deal. And people are reacting to her like her being a bigot is no big deal. So this was refreshing.
Yeah, it really was, and they handled it really well, and the writing was great as well.
Yeah, perfect.
I
I
feel
loved it.
Yeah, I feel like whoever wrote that is either gay or knows someone who's gay because they wrote it very well. It was, that is the feelings that you have when you come out to a parent were definitely the writer knew about it. So that's how the impression I got.
Yeah, I also liked how it was very delicately handled and not over the
Mhm.
top, and it wasn't like a big dramatic reaction. It was just
Yeah,
Lucky was like, "Well, you're my son, so yeah."
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Liz informs Lucky that he is well, we already knew he was a match, but unfortunately his liver is not able to donate to Lulu because he has a parasite in his system. Not harmful to him, but harmful to Lulu.
Yeah, but I mean,
Uh,
shouldn't they have immediately been like, "You need to be on medication to get rid of these parasites?" Because I don't care how your body has adapted to them sounds, you have parasites and you need to be
I would
dewormed.
want, even like if they said they're not harmful, I'm like, I want to get on medication immediately. Even
Uh-huh.
I
Um,
definitely would.
Look, this was devastating. Like
Hmm.
because like I said, I really wanted Lucky to be the hero in this because like he needs to right a lot of wrongs from his character's last stint on the show, and it
Hmm.
would have been a great opportunity for him to feel more like a hero and less like a loser who abandoned his family, which maybe he should feel like a loser. I don't know. I'm going to trust the writers on that. But
Yeah.
this makes sense. Like he's been living in backwater villages and he's been
Hmm.
rescuing people who don't have like water and doing all this crazy stuff and obviously not keeping up on his shots or doing anything he should have been doing.
Yeah.
No regular checkups at the doctors. So
So Rocco comes in and he's really excited that Lucky's here, that he's ready to donate, and then Lucky tells him he can't donate and has a little meltdown as a teenager would when he learns something like that. And Dante comes in and tries to alleviate the situation, but he runs off. And let's see, and then we get to the meltdown at Kelly's, which was I don't know how I felt about that scene. I thought he did a great acting in that scene, but I don't know if Lucky would overreact that way in a sense to trash like a diner. But
I think he just exploded with emotion and he wanted
yeah,
to be someplace in town that was familiar to him.
hmm,
And so he went to Bobby's because it used to be owned by Ruby and now it's owned by Carly. And it's like a
hmm,
family place. And he just went there because I guess maybe it has that air of safety for him. But he acted
hmm,
like a lunatic.
yeah, he did.
Maybe he I don't know, because I think the same reason Rocco had the huge explosion is the
Mm-hmm.
same reason Lucky did. All these people said, "You are going to save us,"
Mm-hmm.
and then he fails. And even though he did nothing wrong, this is not something you can really fail at. This is just life. He
Right.
All these people risked their lives. All these people did everything. And he still can't even manage to be what his sister needs. Like he has failed his family. He wasn't there when Bobby died. He wasn't there when Luke
Right.
died. Now he's not going to be able to save his sister. So he's just feeling too many feelings and then reacting like a maniac, which is kind of very Luke Spencer. I don't know how lucky Spencer it is.
Yeah, it is very Luke Spencer. You're right, and so maybe it isn't out of his character. I haven't. Look, it's been a while since seen Lucky, so I don't remember like how he reacts to certain situations.
He's very much like when he was little, like when he first came on, he was very much
Mhm.
like a little Luke clone. Like
Yeah.
he really was. And
Mhm.
obviously he worked with Tony Geary for years and they developed those characters together
Right.
as father and son. So I'm assuming maybe this is just like he absorbed a lot of that as he grew
Mhm.
up. He is different, but remember he's been played by multiple actors at this point, so now we kind of have to reset Lucky to
Yeah.
who he was when he originally played him.
Right. Which was back in '93, so 31 years ago.
Yes, some of us were in high school.
I was in school.
Some
Watching the show in middle school. Yeah, so Jocelyn comes in
I
and
love her.
oh god, she killed it in this scene for sure. She doesn't understand why Lucky's going off and trashing the diner. First she
I know
thinks
who he is.
right, well first she thinks that he was like robbed or something and like he was hurt, but then she realizes he actually trashed the diner. So um Jocelyn over and she reacts the way, she normally I guess any person in that situation would. She's like,
Are
why
you
would you
kidding
come
me?
here and
She
be
rips him a new
business?
one. He came
Yeah.
into her house and he wrecked her plan. Like, let's face it, Carly is never at Kelly's. Jocelyn's been running that diner for like a while now. And
Yeah.
imagine you have this little diner that you have all set up and it's all cute and you
Mhm.
love it and everyone in town is there. And then this lunatic comes in and starts smashing your dishes and knocking your crap on the floor. And she was just like,
Yeah.
and she grew up on stories that this guy is a hero and he has
Mhm.
just trashed her home.
Yeah.
She's like, what kind of loser are you? you know?
Right.
I
Yeah.
loved her.
Yeah. She did a great. I think. Well, later when Dex arrives, she has some. She realizes why he trashed it, so she feels
Well,
bad.
she didn't know any of that. She didn't
Exactly.
even
She didn't
like
know.
it. It took her until she was over top of him to
Mhm.
realize it was Lucky, and he didn't even know it was her because obviously he hasn't seen her since she was a little kid.
Yeah.
So that's not the best way to be reintroduced here.
Definitely not. Hopefully they, have another scene together. I would like to see that another scene between the two of
I
them.
do. I agree. I think that I don't know. In the last couple months, Jocelyn's really been a bright spot on this show. She's just like the
Mhm.
voice of the audience. She just comes in and goes, "Why are we doing this? This is insane."
Yeah. Well, I like that she's like saying what the audience thinks. That's great.
Me too.
So Lucky then goes to Jason at Printer's Coffee because he needs a passport and money because he's ready to hightail it out of town because that's his usual way of dealing with things.
I was furious with him. I
I
was like,
was so.
I knew he was going to do it, but I still was kind of hoping that he wouldn't. And then he
Yeah.
goes to Jason. He's like, I need money and a passport. And I'm like, oh, running away again. Are we just like imaginary Elizabeth said?
Yeah. Come on. We knew. I mean, it's Lucky's MO. He's going to do
Yeah, when the
it.
when the brain damaged assassin has to tell you you're doing the wrong thing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe you would listen.
No offense to Jason, but like Jason left town against his will, and
Mhm.
Lucky is willingly dipping on his son, and not
Mhm.
only his son, but the other boys. He was a father to all of
Jake and
Elizabeth's kids.
Cameron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just and I think they were hiding Jake from Jason at the time. So even Jake he was fathering, and then he just
Mhm.
he had so many problems, he abandoned them all.
Yeah. So, but lucky for us, pun intended, Lucky decides to stop at church and pray. And
Ugh.
who's he reunited with none other than his mother, Laura.
Perfect timing, right? Because he
Yeah,
says, you know, I need a sign. And she comes in, and Luke used to call her Angel Face and Angel. And
yeah,
she just arrives when he needs a sign from God, and she looks beautiful. So,
yeah. I was so happy to see them on screen together. It was great after all
oh,
these years. It was amazing.
it was like no time passed. As soon as
Yeah,
she hugged him and she basically begged him to stay, like
yeah.
I was like, oh, you're killing me right now.
Well, yeah, and she really needs her son right now because her daughter is dying.
And her
So
other son's in prison.
right, and I'm glad that that happened, and I'm glad it happened in the moment it did because it was perfect. It really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
Mhm,
just comes down to like
mhm,
him being like, I'm useless. I can't save
yeah,
her, so I'm useless. And him saying, and her saying, how could you be useless? I need you right now. Don't leave me to deal with this on my own.
right,
And it's just
exactly.
weird that like these poor male characters on this show, they just feel like the only thing they can do is insane grand gestures instead of just like being there for your family.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about Robert, Diane, and Holly for a little bit.
Okay.
So I guess Robert and Diane are together. Like they don't really say it until this week. Like all of a sudden they're like, oh, they're dating, they're
Okay,
a
so
couple.
this happened before. Like they were kind of talking to each other and they were kind of dating a little bit, and then she
Mhm.
dumped him because she's 100% correct that she was not going to be second best to some girl who blows in and blows out of town. And
Right.
Robert was upset about that, but he understood it. And then he said his goodbyes to Holly, and it felt
Mhm.
really final. And now Holly's back, and it's really hard for me not to root for her because I adore her.
I love Holly, yeah. But
Diane's hair looks great this week, just as a
yes,
fashion aside.
for sure. So Brennan brings champagne to Holly's room. So at first I thought they knew each other. Then I was like, okay, they don't know each other. So I think,
Yeah, but he would have
yeah,
heard of her.
right, yeah.
She's famous.
So maybe we'll get a Holly Brennan Carly triangle. That'd be kind of interesting.
That would be a weird
It'd be weird,
triangle,
but yeah.
but I'm not against it. I
I'm not
think
against it either. I kind of like
I'm
it.
having I'm having a lot of fun with Brennan. I think he brings
Mhm,
fresh air to the show. He's always smiling and he's always
mhm.
up to something, and he has that air of a Cassadine without being incredibly evil, just slightly evil, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Holly and Robert finally reunite at the district attorney's office,
Mhm.
and I don't know. Holly was, I don't know. I got weird vibes like between the two of them. Like, I guess,
She didn't know how she was going to be received. So
yeah,
she was very tentative in how she approached him, which he seemed to almost be poking fun at her for in the conversation because
yeah,
he was like, "Oh, it's about time you got here." And she was like, "Well, I didn't know." And he's like, "Yeah, and you're always late." And I was
right,
like, "That's kind of true." But I think he was just like, he expected her to show up right away. And she,
mhm,
Mac kind of derailed her for a minute. And now
yeah,
here she is. And Mac is not giving up.
right, exactly. I like that Mac doesn't want Robert to get hurt, and he's being a good brother.
Mhm.
um, so Holly and Robert. So Holly lies and says she didn't get anything out of her caper, which was interesting. I don't know.
Everybody knows she's lying, though. Come on.
Of course, like why would? But I don't think I don't know why she would lie to Robert about that. Like Robert's, I guess because he's the district attorney.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're diametrically opposed. That's why I think they
Mhm.
work and why they can't work.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into Alexis.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready.
So Sam visits Alexis in jail. She says she went for a dive along with the police for the gun and she couldn't find anything. Alexis is worried about Christina and wants Sam to protect her and try to keep Molly and Christina from being in each other's throats.
I can't with this woman. Alexis is one of my favorite characters, and she has been since she came on. She's always
Mhm,
kind of erratic and dramatic and intelligent and strong and like
mhm,
everything you want in a character. She's nuts and she's awesome.
mhm,
Her obsession with everyone else in the family coddling Christina
Mm-hmm.
Um, it gets annoying, but also this week, Christina kind of proved that Alexis was right, and they do need to keep her on a leash and keep her under control.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost annoying. Like it's just really annoying. Like Alexis is
It
right, but I
is.
don't want her to be.
It really is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what. So Martin visits Alexis, and he has hired a PI to trail Carly to prove that Carly and Sonny are not actually together, and that the whole alibi is not correct.
Right.
It's invalid, I guess. So I had a good time with that storyline because I like that Felicia and Carly had some scenes together finally after making up months ago.
Okay. So two things. One, I loved when Alexis turned to Martin and said, "And you have no beard." And he's like, "What?"
Mhm.
And she's like, "I thought we were just stating obvious things." So I like that she,
Yeah, that was funny.
because that's a good one for the audience. Again, hanging a lantern on the fact that he came, he came back with no beard. And I also love the little dog that the
Mhm.
PI carries around. I think that's great. And how Felicia cannot stop harping on how cute the dog is and how the dog will outlive us all. I love that.
Mhm.
But Felicia and Carly are not friends. They have not ever been friends. They just tolerate each other. And again, we're rewriting history to give Carly friends that are women. She does not get along with women. This is insane to me.
They made up when they went to Amsterdam.
Oh, yeah. They had a 5-minute conversation over Bobby and they bonded. And now everyone's saying they've been friends for decades. It's like, I don't, man, I get it. Real human beings do this all the time. I actually think it's kind of fun and
Mhm.
realistic that these people are constantly rewriting their own backstories, especially since the writers
Mhm.
are also constantly rewriting their backstories. So I guess it doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
it's really hard when you remember the way Carly reacted to any woman that got within 5 feet of her for the last 30 years. And then in the last 2 years, all of a sudden she's a girl's girl. And I'm like, when did that happen?
When did this happen?
Which
Yeah.
also, like, I love that Alexis was like, go for it with the picture. And if you can bring Carly down while you're doing it, go for it. And I'm like, see, that's the
Mhm.
attitude I want towards Carly.
Yeah. So Carly goes into Brennan's room for dinner for two and some champagne. And Felicia is on to the fact that the PI is trailing Carly. So she
Mhm.
keeps calling her, trying to warn her. And I think finally, like, what happens? Does she knock on the door or something, the PI? And, like,
The PI knocks on the door, and
yeah.
he Carly has already gotten the warning from Felicia. Like,
Right,
and
right.
Felicia's like, "There's a PA at the door." So
Yeah.
Brennan says, "I'll do this for you." Remember, Carly and Brennan are having this really great conversation where he's like, "I don't want
Mm-hmm.
our relationship to be transactional. So if I do you a favor, it's a favor. It's not something I expect to be repaid."
Mm-hmm.
And I love to hear it because I want people to have friends who are not like keeping score. And Carly's never really had that other than Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this idea. And then he's just like, "Oh well, I'll take care of this for you. Just go hide over there." he just he just comes out the door and just pushes this woman like down. He just takes her away.
Yeah.
But yeah, she does knock on the door and he opens the door and she's like, "Hi, oh, I'm at the wrong room." It's a terrible PI job. I'm sorry, but she is entertaining as all
It
get
was
out.
very entertaining, yes.
Because she was even earlier, she was at the bar when Carly was at the bar and she's coming over trying to get her drink filled while like
Oh,
Felicia's
Brennan and
like,
her were talking, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
she's just,
Holly and her were talking, yeah.
yeah, because she's trying to get information about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I should find out who that actress was because she did a great job. She really did, and I loved her interaction with Felicia, where they were both sizing each other up as
Funny that
PI.
we've never seen her before, but Felicia already knows her. I don't.
Because Felicia was a PI for like a
Right,
decade, so
yeah,
she probably ran into her in her line of work. But
right.
at the same time, it's another one of those, here's a character and here's an imaginary backstory for them. It could have
Exactly.
been more interesting to have Felicia notice that she was a PI just from her behaviors because
Mhm.
of her skill set, or even Sam to notice another PI.
Yeah. Mhm.
But we're not caring about Sam anymore since we're shunting her off of the show, I guess.
Yeah, I
Poor
guess.
Sam.
Yeah. Well, we'll get more into that later. But Lucas, is back, well, of course, as we know, and he's, I really like the guy. I think he's doing a good job. Lucas runs into Wiley and Willow at
Oh yeah.
Kelly's, and it was a little awkward, but I think they, he handled the situation pretty well. And later, Michael and Willow tell Wiley that Lucas had him when he was really young.
And the kid doesn't care because he's a
Yeah, he
kid.
doesn't. It doesn't
And he
register.
doesn't
Like,
he doesn't
whatever.
understand any of this. And
Yeah.
even if you explain it in terms, it's just like, as far as the kid's
Mhm.
concerned, great uncle Lucas babysat him for 5 minutes until he went home with mommy and daddy. This does not impact him at all.
Yeah. And Lucas is also with Carly when this was a funny moment when at the hotel while the PI was trailing her, and she says to Felicia, "Who is this hunk?" And he's like, is Carly singing?" He's like, "No, that's her gay brother."
She was like, "That's his brother, and yes, he is a tall drink of water and very gay." Hot and gay, accurate description.
Yeah. So later, Liz is having a little not a breakdown, I guess, and she's really upset, and Lucas is there to comfort her, and I like those scenes as well between the two of them.
They're doing a great job of reestablishing the character of Lucas through our new actor, and he's very friendly. I like him,
Mhm.
and he's
Yeah.
really good at hitting the emotional beats. So I'm getting used to
Mhm.
him pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a scene between Lucas and Lucky as well because they have a lot of history as well.
Yep.
And finally, Lucas meets up with Ava.
Can we first talk about how absolutely gorgeous Ava looks? And
Mara West, yes.
yeah, Mara West's oh god, her fashion is incredible. That
Yeah.
green top she was wearing,
Mhm.
and the sparkly green eyeshadow. She's always wearing sparkly eyeshadow, and that
Yeah.
eyeshadow, like she looks. It's so funny because her character is very morally reprehensible sometimes, but
Mhm.
she always looks slightly angelic the way they dress her.
Yeah.
I thought she looked so pretty. She's been killing it lately. Her blouses have been everything.
Yeah.
And now we get to hear about Julian.
Yeah. But you know what? I enjoyed the history lesson because there are
Yeah.
some things I forgot.
Yeah. Well, they did a great job of doing it without making it feel like here's an
Yeah,
exposition dump.
right. And I think Lucas did love his father despite all the horrible things he did. And I love that Carly said that Julian was the reason why Lulu was in the coma. So,
Yeah, okay, but you hated your cousin Lulu, so shut up.
right, right, exactly.
No, I like that Carly was there, but I hate that she's such a hypocrite because
Hmm.
right now she's covering up a murder which has Alexis in prison.
Hmm.
And she's standing there looking at Ava like Julian was a bad person.
Hmm.
Girl, you too. You're also a bad person. I like you, but like look
Yeah,
in the mirror sometimes. You're covering for a murder right now.
right, exactly. All right, moving on to Anna and Jason. So Anna and Jason have a meeting with Bren, and they catch him up on their adventures in Africa. And later on, Anna goes to see Jason at Corinthians Coffee, and I laugh, and she's like, "Are we going to talk about that kiss?" I'm like, "No, Jason doesn't talk."
So Jason should have been a psychiatrist because he answers every single question with a question, and
He
he's just like,
does.
"Do you
You
want to
want to
talk
talk
about
about
that, kiss?" She's like, "No."
it? Yeah. Mm. I'm coming around to them, but it's
Me
still a
too.
little weird because of the Robin thing. But whatever.
It was so long ago, and Robin
Mhm.
is married and has kids, and
Mhm.
Jason's had kids and dated multiple people after that. Like and
Mhm.
it is weird, the mother daughter thing, but that just seems like a staple of soaps, which is just,
Yeah. Well, they
I don't
agreed the
know.
kiss didn't really mean anything, and they agreed.
Sure.
So, we'll see when they kiss again in a couple weeks. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it meant nothing, but we're drawn to each other. I don't know. I think Jason kind of sees Anna as a person who doesn't see him only as Sunny and Carly's
Yeah.
lackey. and she sees so much potential in him to be more than that. And I think a lot of that is also she sees him as a good teammate. And I guess that got a little
Mhm.
romantic for her in her head when she was desperate.
Yeah.
And who cares? She should have a nice, hot, young boyfriend. Why not?
Agreed. Agreed. So later on in the week, Anna summons Carly in there into the PCVD because she wants her to recant her statement.
She's trying to save her.
She's trying to save her, and Carly still won't back down and won't recant her statement, which is a huge mistake on her part.
So when I was watching it, I texted my mom and I was like, "What is wrong with her?" Accessory after the fact for murder? That's not a small charge.
What I heard blind
Straight to jail.
loyalty to Sonny just doesn't make any sense anymore because you can see she's tired of him.
She is. She's sick of him. She's sick of being loyal to him, but she connects that loyalty of how she's loyal to her family, only parts of her family, mind you, but she's super loyal to her family. And that, for whatever reason, extends to Sonny because he's the father of some of her children and,
Mm,
the stepchildren and all that. And she just, her and Jason, they both award him this loyalty. I'm starting to feel out of habit more than reality because Jason's
mm,
kind of sick of him and how he behaves, and
yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy to have blind loyalty to him.
I agree. So meanwhile, Sonny has decided to confess to the murder.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to see Alexis and he tells her his intentions, and Alexis is pretty surprised. Like,
He asked her, he was like, do you believe me that I would do it for you? And she's like, no, but I
mm,
do believe you would do it for our daughter.
yeah,
But I am a little like touched.
right, exactly.
I love her. Nancy Lee Grant is the best.
um, so also Christina is she went to Anna earlier and was going to confess to being parked at the Quartermains in Alexis's car, and Michael stops her because he Sinelli put some software in her phone to track her location.
Had to. Had to. Apparently, Alexis is right. This girl can't go outside on her own or she'll die.
Yeah,
Like,
they just baby her, and it's just like, come on, like
it's insane. It's insane that they've done this.
Christina needs protection. Christina, that's all I heard all week. Christina needs protection
From herself, but only
from
from
herself.
herself. She does not seem to get the big picture at all. She's so focused on she told a lie and she thinks telling the truth will get her mother out. She doesn't realize that it implicates her mother for lying. It implicates all these other people for lying.
She thinks that it's going to help, but it's really going to make things
It's
worse.
going to make it sloppy and a mess, and it's going to get charges on her because even though she didn't kill
She didn't.
Kate, she
She
admitted
didn't
to
tell the
wanting
police.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went there with the intent to murder him. That's no small thing to say.
Right.
Why didn't she get a lawyer if she wanted to do that and talk to the lawyer so the lawyer could talk her out of it?
Exactly.
And my mom's like, "Why is Michael getting involved?" Hi, mom. And and I was like, "Cause he has to, because otherwise she'll drown in her own saliva." She's so dumb this week. So dumb. Carly was the same, and you know what? I love Laura Wright. I think she does a great job of playing a very nuanced character who just
Yeah.
she's just incredible in how she is blind to certain facts and they have to be pointed out to her, but she's so intelligent. She runs a business. She's really great with a lot of stuff. But when it
Mhm.
comes to her family, she is just insane.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a bomb threat at the PCPD,
Mm-hmm.
but it turns out it was just a box that was left there. I don't know who left it, but I have a theory. It
What's your theory? Because it does it.
was Sam.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. She
Do
went
you
on a
think?
time.
I kind of thought it began with Jay and it ended in Asen because he said that last week that the gun had to appear.
Yeah.
And it just seems a little convenient. But if it is Sam, I would be very excited.
Yeah. Um,
I want you to be correct.
so the box. There's a box. I don't know, and then the gun that was missing is found that Alexis threw over the canyon. I guess was.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Supposedly. It's a 9mm, very popular
Yeah,
gun.
it's the same
And
kind gun.
it
And the ballistics show that it was in the water.
right. And
And
it's registered to Sonny, but that
right.
means absolutely nothing because Spinelli exists.
True, true. I didn't even think about that.
So
Mhm. I thought think Sam was the one who retrieved it, but I guess we'll find out next week.
I want her to be because I want her to get a heroic moment before she goes.
Mhm.
She kind of deserves it.
I
And
agree.
but the show always has Jason cleaning up Sonny's messes, so it kind of
Mhm.
feels like this is a Jason Spinelli classic mess around.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dante is told by Dex about the gun being found, and he's distracted by Christina calling him because she is at the hospital, and Dante is about to meet her at the hospital. Um, I forget. Did they had a conversation, right, Dante and Christina? And he was like basically like just keep your mouth shut, don't say anything. Why did you go to that?
Dante said, "Do you trust our father?
Yeah. Hmm.
Do you trust your mother? Then shut up because they asked you to shut up." And
Right.
she's like, "I just can't
Exactly.
do that. I have to do everything to save everybody." And it's like,
He was just
what's
a
wrong with
mess.
you,
I
man?
I can't deal with her.
It's a lot, and I really hate it because like initially Christina was just I don't know.
Hmm.
I liked her before this nightmare, and now I'm kind of like every day I'm like, did she in fact fall down the stairs and hit her head really hard after she fell into that pool? Like she
Yeah,
just kept
happened.
bashing. She's just having brain injury after brain injury because like I don't get it. I don't understand her logic. And I get that she's impulsive, but she's never been stupid.
No, she's never been stupid.
And this just feels stupid.
I agree for sure. Um, okay, and so Sonny is about to turn himself in for Jagger's murder. He's waiting on Diane to meet him at the PCPD, and earlier Dante has a conversation with Cody, and Cody asks him a very interesting question: "Is your family or your job more important to you?"
Your
And
job. That family is a mess, Dante. Do not get dragged down by them.
I was mad at Dante. I was mad
Why? Why are we mad at him?
because he came in there and he was about to tell Sonny about the gun.
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. We don't know for sure what he's going to do. If he does do that, I agree with you. I would be very furious that he would throw away
And
his
Anna's
pension,
there and
his
right in front of him.
career. For what? For these idiots who can't even commit a murder quietly. And he's supposed to be one of the best at doing all this murdery stuff. And he just
Yeah.
shoots a guy on the Quartermain property. Like, this
Mhm.
has all been very insane.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Brad.
Oh, yes. That is very important. Elizabeth gets a notice from,
Subpoena.
yeah, a subpoena. It was a subpoena, that's right.
Hmm.
And saying that the lab test results for Heather Weber were tampered with at the hospital when there were
It's
three other
not
tests.
that they were tampered with,
They were
that
incorrect. Yeah.
incorrect, right? They don't know
Yeah.
how or why.
Correct. Correct. They were incorrect, and there were three other labs that confirmed that Heather's cobalt levels were lower than.
Which is funny because Brad was like, "What? Really? Our labs are great."
Yeah, he was like, "I That was a great scene.
I
Well,
love
and
him.
then also Portia gave Brad a hard time again. I'm like, Portia, just leave him alone, please."
Portia was a super huge monster to him
Yeah.
because he hugged Cody and she started yelling at him for unprofessionalism. And he was just like, it's just a hug, man. I know.
Okay, you haven't hugged your daughter at the hospital while you were working. I
Because she hates
hate.
him and she's trying to build a case to get him fired. And I cannot I can't stand it. I've been I can't stand it. I love Brad. He's just I love Brad. He's a sweet little thing and I want to protect him.
I know, I love Brad too. But luckily, Brad is privy to Portia and what she did because I think he found the original test.
He did, because did you see
Yeah,
his face when he was holding up the paper and looking at the screen?
yeah.
He's like, "Oh, Portia, no,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Brad, yes."
And there must be a way for them to track. like who viewed the results or who
Oh,
like
yeah, because everything
yeah,
you in the hospital, you would have to log in with your own personal code, which is
right.
why it doesn't make sense that she did that at the hospital because it was really stupid and impulsive
And
of
at the
her.
time, she couldn't use Brad's code because she didn't know he was even working there at that
Well, I don't think he was on staff
point. He
when
wasn't
it
even on
happened.
staff yet.
I don't
Okay.
know if he was on staff yet because Terry rehired him.
Yeah, she did.
By the way, the other week when Terry was wearing that purple dress, I was like, "Ugh, slay." Like it was just like a really great dress. And I kept saying, and every time she showed up, I'm like, still wearing that dress, looking good. Like
Yeah,
they really know how to dress the girls on here. They really are killing it.
yeah, facts, facts.
Mm.
Also, we didn't talk about Violet. Violet,
Right.
yeah, she is writing a letter to her dad, and she's afraid to tell him about what happened at school with the bully. Meanwhile, Brooklyn and Chase are meeting with the principal of her school, and they're getting to the root of Violet's issues, which are a little more deeper than they thought.
Well, I mean, did you think that this little girl whose parent has always just been Finn was
Hmm.
going to react to being removed from Finn well?
Oh no, of course not.
They're basically like they're each other's everything,
Hmm.
and now she's adrift without him. And I liked the scene with the principal. I liked how the principal wasn't a monster about it. He was very understanding and he wanted to work together.
Hmm.
But the best part is having Diane show up.
Yeah, that was great. That was really funny.
I don't know. I like literally like she shows up also Diane again always looking great. And she shows up and she's just like my client, and all this stuff and they're like listen, it's fine. It's just a kid in a
Did
school.
Tracy send her? Tracy
Yeah.
sent her, right? Okay, that's right. Okay,
hmm
that's what I thought.
Tracy had a cute little conversation with Violet where she
Yes,
basically told her to I forget the phrase, but it was in French, which is just,
yes,
basically I'm done with it now.
right.
And she taught her that and they had a really sweet moment and then
Mhm.
she called her lawyer and had her lawyer go over to yell at the school.
Yeah, of
If that
course, it's
isn't
Quartermain,
Quartermain, yeah.
absolutely. Oh man,
It was a good week. It was a good
yeah, it
week.
was a great week. It was one of
Yeah.
the best weeks in a long time.
A lot was happening. I am really just now I'm kind of like because there was a throwaway line that Ethan was tested. So
Yes,
now we have none of the extended Spencer clan
hmm
are going to be the donor. Now
right.
what? Now what do we do?
That's just an excuse not to bring Ethan back. They just didn't want to bring him back.
Why?
I don't know. I
I think
bring Ethan
they
back.
should retcon Ethan and make him Robert's son because it doesn't make sense that he's Luke's son. And I've always thought that.
I agree. I I agree.
So
I
that
mean,
would
maybe
be
the DNA test was wrong. I mean,
well, I don't think they did DNA testing for this liver thing. I don't know what the liver
no, I
testing
mean the
is, but
initial one when it was they found out
yes, because every DNA test done in a soap is 100% accurate all the time.
all the time. They're told
Every time.
yeah. I'm a little disappointed we didn't see that this week and we didn't get any traction on that story.
Yeah, because that was a big reveal, but we really
Mhm.
didn't get Willow or Drew or any of them
We did
in
get
any.
Olivia finally. Like I feel like the writers are listening to us. We see Olivia.
Do you really think they're listening to us? Because they
No,
like
I'm just but we
immediately
like
after we started talking
anytime we
about
say something,
Steven,
it happens, and we're like, oh,
they're like, Steve Weber should come back. It's like, no, we're just reading the clues in the show, and they're like, oh, he's out of prison now, and we're like, he should come back. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm really excited actually to see what happens. I hear he has
Mhm.
scenes with Heather, um, so he gets
Oh,
to
Allie
see his
Mills, yeah.
mama.
Mhm. Well, I'm sure he'll have scenes with Liz, hopefully with Olivia as well. So that'll be
He
interesting.
was thrown into prison on their wedding day.
I
Like, if there's no
know.
scenes
They're
with them,
and
I'll riot.
yeah, they have some things to tie up, I think.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that there's more of Lucas with Ava because he seemed to be softening towards her towards the end of their conversation. And I just love I hate how Ava gets run out of town on a rail for doing basically the same things that a lot of the other hero characters on the show do.
Yes, I agree with you. Ava is really no better than Carly because Carly's done some terrible things too.
They've all done terrible things.
Exactly.
How many of these people in town have gotten away with murder? It's more than one.
Hmm.
It's a lot more than one.
Yeah, true, true. All right. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No, I'm looking forward to next week. I think this
Yeah.
is a good showing this week. I agree with most people who say they're a little disappointed that Lucky didn't get to be the hero. What was the point in bringing him in? But I have faith we'll find out soon.
Yeah, I think there's going to be hopefully a really good storyline ensuing from all this. I don't know when the new Lulu starts, but hopefully it's soon.
I know I can't wait for her to wake up, but first we got to give her a liver.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Queers and Scopes. This is our GH coverage for the week. Thank you again, and we will see you next time.